half the country that might not have otherwise heard that message. So look, do you want to persuade people or not? And if you're not interested in persuading people, that's fine. But I would venture to say that if you are...
Bill Burr is not a politician. He doesn't have a leftist project. What are you talking about? That brings me to TYT's Ana Kasparian, who recently had another session with Megyn Kelly. Glad to see that the rebranding, the Why I Left the Left, has effectively won you a seat at the Megyn Kelly table. And the last, I believe, 4 or 5 videos on Megyn Kelly's personal channel, which is a very popular channel, thanks in large part due to a lot of her anti-LGBTQ plus bigotry doing really well amongst the right. Not to mention, she is someone like Candace Owens who capitalized on the Justin Baldoni story quite a bit to raise her own profile. And now, I guess, Ana has found out that it's a good home for her particular brand of, hey, I'm not a right-winger, I'm not a left-winger, but I am here to validate all of your weird right-wing beliefs on the show. And apparently this one is about Bill Burr and Luigi Mangione. If you didn't know, the right hate Bill Burr now because Bill Burr, unfortunately, went woke. He caught the woke mind virus. It infected him. It changed him. He used to be a dependable source of comedy for the right. And it's because I think a lot of them usually just get clips. I think that's a lot of it. Bill Burr and his early catalog and his early specials, especially before he was in a relationship, a lot of them did center around homophobic tropes, transphobic tropes, and misogyny. And not necessarily simply misogyny for misogyny's sake. As someone who has consumed nearly all of Bill Burr's catalog recently, because I'm making a documentary on Bill Burr right now, coming out on youtube.com/the Serfs TV. It's the new one after Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, his early work, I think, got a lot of the right-wingers on board because a lot like George Carlin, they see isolated clips and they love those isolated clips. Or they see Bill Burr going on to things like hosting, say, an award show and making fun of liberal hypocrisy. What he often would strike at and what he would often target is hypocrisy, liberal hypocrisy, right-wing hypocrisy, but usually going at the heart of it is, hey, by the way, a lot of you are really, really upset. A lot of you are really, really mad that a cis straight white male is presenting these awards and you didn't want to see a cis straight white male. Or the typical white right-wing comedy circuit of you can't say anything anymore. You know, people get so mad about my fat shaming and they're always like, oh, you can't fat shame. And I'm always just like, why? Are you gonna help them lose weight? You're not? Well, fuck you. And so for a long time, a lot of the right-wingers were like, oh, okay, Bill Burr's our guy. He takes it to the libs. He makes fun of PC culture. He makes fun of SJW. He makes fun of CRT. He makes fun of all the acronyms that we hate, apparently, on any given day. Some things did change. Not in that Bill Burr necessarily, all of a sudden went from not woke to woke, but he did do mushrooms. And he told Conan O'Brien that while he was doing mushrooms, he effectively started to have a different perspective on life and realize a lot of things. He also had some personal developments in his own life. He's been married for a while. He's in an interracial marriage. And part of that marriage, the fact that he has, multiracial children, also resulted in him coming to terms with the fact that he has depression. And in the right-wing circles, there's not a lot of support for men with depression, which is really sad because a lot of men have depression and a lot of men can't talk about their depression and a lot of men don't feel comfortable bringing up depression because that'll make you gay or a woman because only women are allowed to be sad or have complex emotions or get teary-eyed at the sunset. Men aren't allowed to do that. So you can't really talk about it. And he starts to talk about it. And he starts acknowledging it, and he starts being vulnerable, and in the process of being vulnerable, he starts talking a lot more about how everything is kind of fucked up, and it really seems like the system is gamed for the rich. And then that starts bringing up some class consciousness in Bill's brain. That class consciousness starts to explode once, the assassination of a health insurance CEO of a very terrible predatory company is allegedly killed by an individual named Luigi. Allegedly, as of right now, Luigi claims to be innocent, and there's a very strong amount of evidence pointing towards the fact that the cops mishandled this, as they often do. And so for now, a lot of people are saying things like, free Luigi, including Bill Burr. And he's going on really popular talk shows and randomly being like, free Luigi. And it's making a lot of people really afraid. And a lot of right-wingers are saying that he's not grateful. He should be grateful to capitalism. Why does he critique it? Why is he mad at capitalism? You shouldn't be mad at capitalism. It gave you everything. You know, it's one of the reasons they're always saying, like, hey, what the fuck? This guy's saying that apparently Luigi was righteous and what he did was a good thing. That's fucked up. And so now that brings us to Megyn Kelly, who brought on Ana Kasparian to talk about Bill Burr going far too woke.
For Conan at the Kennedy Center. And this just the other night. And Conan O'Brien. And he gets asked on the red carpet a couple of political questions by random reporters. Bill Burr has made multiple political comments before this moment. But look, the man acts like he's had a bad case of amnesia. He doesn't know why on earth they'd be speaking to him about politics. Watch.
Tell us about your reaction to Luigi Mangione. I was reading up, that perhaps you've been supportive of what he did. What is your take on that?
If you were reading up, I don't think you read up on it. Because I said what I felt about it, and I said what a lot of people said.
Some people took it that way. So could you clarify what you think?
No, I'm not going to just have some controversial moments so you can get clicks. I'm not doing that. I'm here for Conan. I'm not doing all of this.
You said about Elon that he was ruining Earth, I saw on The View. You're critical of him. What do you think of all the boycotts, like even the violence
I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news. I have no idea what's going on. I watch Instagram. I watch people wipe out on motorcycles. I watch lions and hyenas fight each other. This is the things that I do. You're a journalist.
Comedians are on top of current events.
No. That's weak. That's you guys passing the buck. You guys need to have balls again, which you don't.
Oh, what a moment of absolute beauty. So if you didn't know, this is Newsmax. A couple of right-wing reactionaries, obviously. They're just propaganda centers for the far right and for Trump and all that shit. And of course, I had to get in there and be like, well, apparently you've said some controversial things about Luigi Mangione. And you said that, he wrote on the bullets why he did it. Why would you do that? I'm not here for that shit. I'm here for Conan. So you want to talk about Conan? No, I want to know why you'd say that Elon Musk, said by many to be the world's smartest super genius, why you think he's ruining the planet. Why would you do that? And the dynamic that's going on here that Bill points out that the reporter's not aware of is that, hey, that's supposed to be your job. Remember? You're supposed to call truth to power. You're supposed to call out if there are horrifying tyrants, lords, rulers, dictators who are trying to destroy the planet. That's one of the beauties of free speech, that you have that you have the ability to criticize people in power, and you should utilize that to inform the public so that they can make concerned decisions involving their own democracy. And then when they vote, hopefully get the tyrant out to make the country a little less monarchy proof. That was the whole goal here, I thought, when we did this America thing outside of the genocide and the slavery, was to also be monarchy proof. And so that way we won't have as many kings and queens. But you don't. Instead, you want to go after comedians. See what you're doing here? Well, I mean, come on. This is why a lot of people are calling them, the woke right, because I don't use it because I think woke was already unfairly appropriated by the right, and they've already bastardized, a term made by Black Americans, and I think it's a useful term, and I think being woke is actually fucking a beautiful thing indeed. It's wonderful. It does so many wonders to your skin. It's like a skincare routine. You'll find that you'll have more energy. You feel more pleasant. You'll want to hug puppies more. You go on longer jogs. It just improves your sex life dramatically. There's nothing but advantages to becoming extremely woke and wokifying. The more you wokify, you'll find the better your life becomes along the way. It's just amazing, and it never stops. It just takes forever to unpack all of this shit. And so, fighting against oppression is actually a good thing, and more people should do it. It's really where this should all be going.
You guys always goes, should we be thinking this? Duh. You guys present stuff like that. You guys used to have balls. You need to get your balls back.
Okay. He's not into politics. He doesn't want to comment on news, in response to which I have this to say.
Sure, Dan.
Okay. Here's just one example on the...
Ouch. Oh, man, that's so sad. And you gotta laugh. That second laugh was a fake laugh. You can tell the difference. The first one, she was genuinely laughing because she thought that what Bill Burr had said and done was funny. But then the second one, it's like, don't worry, we got this. He considers himself, or fancies himself, to be a comedian. Wait till he sees the epic memes. Yeah, we got a little ponage going on right here. Sure, Jan. Yeah. He likes apples, does he? How's he like dem apples? Right there. Yeah.
2 topics he was asked about that we found in about 10 seconds. Watch.
But CNN and Fox News are not going to bring up the insurance companies that are just going to keep everybody's premiums and still give themselves a bonus. Yeah. Yes. Free Luigi. I love how they acted surprised. Why did that happen? I have no idea. He wrote on the bullets why it happened.
Oh, we're back to Luigi. Okay, yeah.
I never left Luigi. Why does Elon Musk dress like he just got out of a Hot Topic? Just, I am so...
Oh my God, Jesus Christ, Jimmy. He's still doing it. He can't help himself. All right, time to open the dialogue tree. 2 options. Laugh extremely hard at whatever he says next, or laugh extremely harder at whatever he says last. Whoa, what? Oh.
Sick of that guy trying to rewrite his origin story like he was Matthew McConaughey pulling into the high school. It's like you were a nerd, nobody banged you, and now you have hair plugs and your laminated face.
Okay. I like Jimmy.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Of course you do, Megan. What a surprise. Megyn Kelly likes Jimmy Fallon. He seems like a good guy, you know? He just wants everyone to have a good time. That's the beauty about him.
Fallon, he's a sweet guy. I can speak to that personally, but the over laughter in response to things that aren't that funny is not a good way. That's a bad tick. Anyway, what do you make of Bill Burr suddenly, I guess, what? He doesn't want to talk politics anymore?
I found his jokes a little funny, but I'll say this: he saw the mic flag. It was the Newsmax mic flag, and he didn't want to give him anything. That's all that was. He just didn't want.
First off, I don't think you understand that Bill Burr being political for the first time ever. It's just not a thing. He's always been political. It just so happened that some of his politics and some of the targets he was going after, you also happen to not like. So that's why there's this weird illusion where it's like Bill Burr used to not be woke, but now he's become woke. Clearly, he's been infected by the woke mind virus. Unusual how that happens to people. And it doesn't usually happen to the rich, but in this case, we have an exception to the rule. Not sure what's going on there, but something's up. In addition to the fact that, okay, well, you're a little bit upset. I don't genuinely think he knew that was Newsmax, and that's why he was saying that. I think he was getting pissed off at the fact that they were very clearly doing very front-loaded questions trying to get clips. Right, and he has to deal with that all the time. If you're holding a microphone in front of someone, then you're just basically like, so apparently you think it's completely okay to shoot the CEO of a health insurance company and just cold blood in the middle of the street, and you think that is epic and based? If I am to quote your contemporaries, I'm not going to do this. I'm not here for this. I'm here to say congrats, Conan. That's it. You want to talk about that? I'll talk about that. And then when they're like, well, you also said another controversial quote. What about when you said Elon Musk isn't really cool? How was it nice of you to say that? Well, I mean, this is the road you want to go down. I'm going to be honest. I think all of you have lost your balls. I think you are the press. You used to be, the institution of the freedom of the press exists so that you can call out the rich and powerful, and you have that power to do so, and they can't pass laws that are going to infringe upon that. And you should be doing that. Instead, you're defending the rich and powerful. So how are you even journalists at this point?
To give them anything to broadcast. Maybe he doesn't trust them. Maybe he thinks they're going to take him out of context. Who knows? But to me, it was clear he didn't want to speak to conservative media.
We're back to the earlier point we were making. There are try living, life in my shoes, Elon's shoes, anybody named Trump's shoes. It's like, that's all you get is an adversarial media with a mic in your face, right? It's like, why wouldn't you say isn't that who he needs to?
Are you guys still playing the victim? You control everything now. You won. I'm not just talking about media power, which you have pretty decidedly effectively taken that over. Modern media, in terms of podcasts, overwhelmingly right-leaning. I mean, Joe Rogan is no longer number one, but I mean, he's still got a listening audience of nearly 13 million people, and every other podcast outside of a few exceptions that are liberal, they're almost all right-wing. Facebook, all right-wing. This idea of when it comes to, there's a bias against us, you used to be able to point towards the fact that, Hollywood specifically, and and like mainstream Hollywood films usually were more liberal leaning, and that I know just pissed every single one of you off. It actually caused Jeremy Boring to want to like bankrupt the Daily Wire. But like that was the thing. It was like, okay, well, yeah, okay, these liberal Hollywood actors are all for some reason siding with the Democrats, and we hate that, and it's not fair. And it's like, yeah, a lot of celebrities have chosen the easiest political lane possible, where it's like, I'm going to stand up for LGBTQ plus rights here, not internationally. And in fact, if there are countries that are bombing queer people to death, I will continue to support my government supporting them. But domestically, I'm going to say that I am A-OK and I am for issue X, and then that's where we go. But now, I mean, you control it all. The number one news network in America is Fox News. It's the number one network. It has the most amount of viewers. You control a lot of the online media and the online media spaces. You dominate most social media platforms that are involved in politics. The majority of like podcasts, YouTube channels that aren't even related directly to politics, that talk about culture or video games or sports, they're also right-leaning. So there's an overwhelming amount of right-leaning media. This like, you can't keep playing the victim anymore. You became everything you ever hated. You know, Joe Rogan went from being like, I hate the deep state and the mainstream media, to I am the mainstream media. Hello, Donald Trump. I will now talk to you for a while. I can't wait to bring on your brand new director of the FBI and all the other billionaires who made this possible. Peter Thiel, so great to meet you. What do you have for the future of humanity?
Confuse or could convince, right, of his points. Isn't that the group watching Newsmax that he wants to get his message in front of more than anyone about Luigi and what a sympathetic character he is?
Luigi?
I think there's this mistake made by a lot of folks on the left, and I want to be clear about how wrong they are. So I get that media representing the other side might be adversarial. They might ask you provocative questions. But I actually think there's a lot of value speaking to them, not because you're trying to win the host over or the reporter over, but because you are sharing your message and your beliefs with an entirely new audience that may not have heard the arguments that you are making.
This is going to be the battle cry of every right-leaning centrist up until the moment where there's like complete fascistic takeover of the United States. It's going to be like, you're going to get the Lex Friedmans of the world still saying like, the most important thing that any of us can do is to have conversations. It's the most important aspect of all of our lives, and society itself will crumble if we don't allow conversations. You want someone who goes into the trenches? Sam Cedar. Sam Cedar will go on other people's podcasts, other people's shows. Anyone who's got a big-ass platform and hosts them, he'll go there and he will spread the message. Does not give two fucks about that. This is not that. This is a comedian being hassled by Newsmax, far-right reporters trying to farm for clips and calling them out, being very, very quick and astute and realizing, oh, yeah, that's what you're all about. Okay, you've lost your balls. That's all I'll say. And that's it. Bill Burr is not the left. Bill Burr is not an advocate or a politician or like a leader of the vanguard or someone who's frequently being like, this is how the left wins. He's just a fucking loudmouth asshole from Boston who complains on a podcast. And it just so happens that he's been realizing how a lot of the world works and it's pissing off the right. And now they're like, why are you saying all this? Why are you saying free Luigi? I don't understand. Why won't you go back to talking about how white women took over the Black Lives Matter movement? I think that was funny. I don't know if I fully understood it. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm sorry that you lost one. You still have every other single fucking comedian, like every single fucking, you know, fuckboy, you know, like, who's it? Kill Tony, Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz, you name it. Every single person who's basically, oh yeah, I'm a comedian who cares about free speech. They're all podcasters who care about having the right and power and basically being cheerleaders for them. And they call themselves comedians to get away with criticism. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, you're trying to cancel me for a joke. You can't do that. I'm a comedian. Now I'm going to give a fucking speech to the Trump rally where I'm going to make fun of every fucking minority possible, and then it's going to be hilarious. Lol. But you can't criticize me. Oh, they call you so many names. They call you racist. They call you this. They call you that. You won't let me just tell my racist jokes.
It's not about the big public figures that you're talking to. You're not going to win them over. That's clear. But you are sharing a message with half the country that might not have otherwise heard that message. So look, do you want to persuade people or not? And if you're not interested in persuading people, that's fine. But I would venture to say that if you are
Bill Burr is not a politician. He doesn't have a leftist project. What are you talking about? Look, Bill needs to realize that if he is effectively going to be the vanguard and the biggest voice on the left, if he wants to become the next Bernie Sanders, he's going to have to learn how to deal with those Newsmax reporters when they start asking him all of those pressing little questions. He's got to work with them, okay? You got to be able to, like, what are you talking about? He's a fucking loudmouth comedian. You didn't want to be accosted by a shitty-ass wannabe journalist. That's all this is.
Are in the public making political arguments, the reason why you're doing it is to persuade people. What's the point of just preaching to the choir and just talking to people in your echo chamber? It's more effective to talk to people you disagree with.
He didn't go to an echo chamber. He went to an event to celebrate Conan O'Brien and wanted to talk about Conan O'Brien. And then someone else who showed up there was like, hey, I want to leave this. He's like, no, I actually want to be in an echo chamber right now. An apolitical echo. I would desire a political echo chamber, please. Can we talk about Conan O'Brien?
This is one of the reasons why I just sat down with the New York Times. And this and the desire for votes is the reason Kamala Harris went on Fox News with Bret Baier, which was real. We watched it with our own eyes. It didn't go particularly well.
Directly correlated, 1-to-1. Bill Burr, not wanting to, really branch out and speak to right wingers as he is advancing his leftist political agenda, and the thing you said.
But I bring her up because I have to ask you about a report that just hit from courtesy of, let's see, it's Real Clear Investigations.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Lee Fong. And he revealed that all those brat videos, God, how many do we have? One, we'll just show one. Here's a remix, Saw 24.
My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live. And
Bill, why did you do this, Bill? How could Bill Burr do this? Was Bill getting her perks and Xannies and having a couple Chardonnays in the afternoon? Was that Bill Burr?
And what came before you.
Just videos of her hysterical laughing and now dancing. This is the rebranding of Kamala Harris.
I love Venn diagrams.
Oh, God.
I really do. I love Venn diagrams.
And what Lee Fong has found is that all of that was bought and paid for. Influencers who flooded the web with neon matcha green pro-Harris videos synced to beats from singer Charlie XCX's album Brat last year were quietly funded, quoting here, by an elusive group of Democrat billionaires and major donors in an arrangement designed to conceal the payments from...
What? No. I heard other news. Apparently there was these things. They were like action committees. And then all this money went into them. And they were called PACs. And some of them were even super. And that money was then spent on a whole bunch of social media promotions. How could they? What?
Voters, according to Real Clear Investigations, obtained internal documents and WhatsApp messages from Democratic strategists behind.
We should do something about that. Yeah, I got a great strategy for the left. Don't support candidates who are taking corporate donations and money. It's very easy to have individual donor campaign run on grassroots policies. And as someone who just effectively got a socialist elected into the city council in my city, it can be done. You don't need a lot of money. You just need a lot of people to work together. People power, it's completely effective and it works. It's not something you need to, like if you have someone who's like, hey, by the way, that person, he's standing up for causes. What's the cause? Well, he says that we should all support Israel. Turns out Israel's been giving him hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not him directly, a PAC. I want to support that person then, because it kind of seems like a foreign nation is basically paying his campaign a lot of money to influence how exactly our nation is going to be weapons manufacturing. Sounds bad.
Behind the influencer campaign, Way to Win, one of the major donor groups behind the effort, spent more than $9.1 million on social media influencers during the 24 presidential election. Payments revealed here for the first time. It's amazing. I mean, I'm not sure we thought it was organic, but what we're learning more and more is that any piece of praise she got was either purchased or given under duress by people like Barack Obama.
Well, it's interesting because I do think both sides of the political aisle do this to some extent. It's an effort to kind of.
This seems so boring. Hey, why don't you come on this right-wing show so I can talk shit? Okay, who are we talking shit about? First, Bill Burr, because he got triggered. Are you ready to talk about how triggered Bill Burr is? Yeah, sure. I'll probably try on both sides that one. I'm thinking I could probably do, he didn't want to speak to Newsmax, and even if you disagree with the things that Newsmax said, it really shows you that people should be open to having conversations, especially if they want to advance the goals of the left. Sure, that sounds good enough. Yeah, we'll trigger him, and then afterwards we can talk about how there was money that went into politics because of the Democrats. Yeah, totally. I'll try in both sides this one as well. I'm thinking I'll probably try and explain how both political parties actually do this, and then you can put the whole but the Democrats do it worse at the end of it thing.
Make the candidate appear more popular than they really are, and it has a bandwagon effect, right? Where some voters who might not be as politically engaged will see this manufactured popularity, but they won't know it's manufactured. And they'll think, well, a lot of people like this guy or this gal, so I'm going to cast my ballot for that individual. But I think things have changed in our political environment where people are a lot more engaged because there's a lot on the line. They have a stake in the game, whether it's the economy or something else. I just think that the Democrats being obsessed with that billionaire money is what has led to them being failures in the political system. They need to listen to the voters and ignore the billionaires. And that's how they actually bolster their popularity as opposed to doing whatever it was that Kamala was up to.
I mean, it's really unclear. It reminds me of when I was in high school. We had a high school sorority. And you had to wear this very silly outfit for the whole scrub week of your pants rolled up above your knees and a white polo shirt just hanging and tube socks pulled up high. And by the end of that week, some gals who were younger in high school who didn't know any better started wearing that outfit because they actually thought it had caught on.
I'm sorry, what? There's just so much of it. Why is there a high school with sorority systems? What the fuck is going on there? Why do you have frats in high school? Did you go to some fucking bougie private school? Is that even a thing? That's not a thing in Canada. We don't have high schools with fraternity systems.
These girls were. Yep. That's what people who spread the lie Kamala is brat. That's what happened to you. You bought the campaign as real, hook, line, and sinker, and now should feel somewhat embarrassed and go back to your normal tree-torn sneakers and Palmetto jeans with the stripes in the front. Okay.
Got him. Sorry, Bill Burr. You've been pwned. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How do you like that, huh?
I'm not even, the king monkey.
Yeah.
Lying dog-faced pony
when it comes
soldier.
to the serious business of testosterone-laden man.
It's a trap. You are fake news.
Yeah.
Smoke weed.
Well, not that one.
Pause it.
Yeah, well, not that one either. Yeah. Bodied, as they say, wrecked. He'll never recover from this. No one can, actually. That was too savage.
Don't let this happen to you. Go to serfscoffee.com to order the only end-to-end owned indigenous coffee company that delivers blood-free, conflict-free, and cruelty-free beans right to your door. 0% of people who drink serfscoffee.com have exploded spontaneously. By ordering right now, you get 10% off plus free shipping, and it's the best way to enjoy delicious coffee while not exploding. That's serfscoffee.com, serfscoffee.com.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This video wouldn't be at all possible without the financial support of all the people whose names you see on the screen right now. And if you want to unlock secret bonus episodes, content that we can't post anywhere else, or get the videos early before anyone else gets to see them, please go on to patreon.com/theserfs. For as little as $1, you can help support this channel and help make more videos like this possible. Our executive producers are Anna Loves Riley, Adrian McCarthy, Bobby Lasers, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Garrett Sandoval, Hagbard Celine, Jimmy Sombrero, Multimondi, Omni, Political Papi, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Richard Boehm, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demel, Tigwig, Trav, and Words Greenwood. And also, it wouldn't be possible without all the names you see on the screen right now. Again, if you want to help produce this content, it's only made possible through the funding of our patrons. Head on down to patreon.com/theserfs. That's patreon.com/theserfs.